Hi, I'm David Levin, and welcome to another crystalline episode of Pop Goes the Culture, the behind-the-scenes TV stories you wouldn't have known from the people who were there. Today, my conversation with Debbie Allen turns to mentoring young performers, directing Family Ties, and directing the pilot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with a young Will Smith. You know, the one thing that sort of has come across, that everything that I've read about you and seeing you on the show and all that, is that you do have that sort of teacher quality, the mentoring quality. I mean, you brought that with you, and we'll talk about A Different World later. And you know, which is striking in an industry which sort of doesn't, you know, the kids are commodities.
Yeah.
You know, and that happens a lot where, you know, when you see these kids, we're not going to get into the stories of the kids who went wrong, that's been done and done to death. But what's striking about what you do and what you did is that you sort of sought and found a way to prevent it from happening, and not everybody does that. Do you want to sort of talk about the needs of sort of a very intense professional environment on young people who are just sort of in over their heads for the very first time?
Yeah, it's very difficult when you're in an intense professional environment and you have a lot of young people who are just starting, who are, yes, in over their heads to a certain degree, or don't really realize their limitations or realize their power and how to use it, control it. And I don't know, I had worked with Jerome Robbins and Donna McHale and some really amazing theater directors. And I understood that you had to have some kind of a family, because week to week to week, if you're in a television series, it's like you're in a repertory theater. You just have a new play every week. And that the responsibility of the leadership of who's playing what role changes week to week to week. And there's no real room for or need for jealousy or being competitive, but there's a real need for young people to be developed, to be talked to, because a lot of them will get jobs based on what they look like and their type, and they may not have very much acting experience. They may not understand how to break down a role. They may not know what the word subtext means. So what I gave them, and I think it's why actors like working with me, is because I will, even with grown-ups, I will talk about the subtext of the character. Why are you doing this? When I directed Family Ties for the first time, I remember Justine Bateman was in a relationship with a boy. I don't remember the exact story. But I was trying to get the actors to start, not just say the lines, but think about, what is my relationship? Who am I? What am I doing? And she wasn't so open to me the first day. So then I went to the other actors, and they were enjoying having a director that was asking them questions and getting them to think about why they're saying what they're saying and what does it really mean. So the next day, she came with a different attitude, and she started to wonder why she was with this boy. And she got an Emmy nomination for that performance that I directed.
Do you remember the episode, or what was it called?
Oh, I don't really.
Believe me, we'll look for it.
Well, she was nominated for that episode, and I remember also Gary David Goldberg telling me, I had shot a close-up of her face, really close. And he said, you know, this shot is so close, and it's not really our show. I said, but Gary, look at her. Look how beautiful she is. She doesn't need a Kotex lens. Her face can handle it. And he was like, but it's, I said, well, you know what, Gary, if you want the same shot every week, you should have the same director. He looked at me, he said, point well taken. He let me shoot the shot. I said, you can change it after I leave. He left it in, and then he offered me the series, the season, half of the season the next year, and I loved him. He was great.
Which season was it on Family Ties?
It was before they became #1. It was, let me see. It was the same year I took over A Different World. I have to go back and look. Let's see. I go by my children. My son was born, so 87. Yeah, Thumpity was born. It was around 87.
What?
87.
The thing about Family Ties and this happens on occasion to a show. All of a sudden, you got a character, you got this ensemble show, really talented people, and then someone breaks out.
Breaks out. Now that can be, Family Ties was designed for Meredith Baxter Birney. And NBC didn't even want to cast Michael J. Fox. Somebody was saying, no, he's not right. And he became the anchor for the whole show. A similar thing, I directed the pilot of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I mean, Will Smith was so amazingly charming and adorable, and you knew what you were looking at. But Alfonso Ribeiro was his nemesis, and he was playing this nerdy black boy. It was like being a nerdy white boy, but he was black. And all of a sudden, some of the people were uncomfortable, they didn't like it, and they wanted to fire him. And I said, no. I mean, who was I? But I was the director. But I was talking loud and clear. I was coming from a different world, and I said, no, you can't. I said, this is going to be your series. He and Will Smith together, that's oil and water. That's going to be amazing. That mixture is going to be your series, and it was. They were great. They were great together. So sometimes people have to have instincts and trust their instincts, and it can't be done by committee, which is part of what's starting to happen a lot. Too much committee and not enough. Okay, this is the creator of the show. These are their ideas. Let's go with that. Let's try that. Let's make that work. Instead of everybody being cookie cutter, let's copy everybody else's show.
Nice to go in the middle of on a pilot, though.
In the middle of a pilot.
In the middle of a pilot.
Gonna change a cast member.
Yeah. Well,
that happens a lot.
I know. On Fresh Prince, though, you get to sort of do. If you get to do it's different than coming in on a show after it's been on for a year. You get to sort of build it from the ground up.
Yeah.
Talk about that, and talk about specifically Fresh Prince or anything else you might have worked on. About what you bring in when you're doing something like that. What are you looking for? What are you trying to do?
As the director?
As the director.
On a new show.
Yeah.
On a new show as a director, you're trying to define the characters, the relationship, and the arena. If you can define that, then that is the premise, because it usually takes the writers maybe 5 shows before they can get everybody's voice. They might have 3 of the 6 characters' voices down, but it takes a little time. I did the pilot of Link's Place, which starred Golden Brooks, who's now on Girlfriends. And Golden was in the show, and there was a lot of behind-the-scenes talk about her. I said, give me time. I said, this girl is golden, like her name. And they did. And, she's who she is. She was wonderful on that show. She turned out to be wonderful on that show. That was Pam Grier, and it was a cable show. Anyway, so what I do as a director on a new show, or any show, is just try to define, especially a new show, who are the characters, what is their life, what is this arena? I had to take over a show that was a year old and redefine it, a different world.
Next time, Debbie Allen and I will talk about A Different World, how she took over the show 1 season in and changed it all around, and the people she brought in for the show, including a young Jada Pinkett. It's getting good now. Till then, if you remember Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, what was your favorite episode? Let me know in the comments. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Want to talk to celebrities yourself? Become a Patreon subscriber and then tune in to Ask Them Yourself.